All right, well, welcome in to Fat Beans Roasting Laboratory. I am the Bean Man, and this is our first official YouTube playback. This is pretty exciting. We have done several Twitch shows over the past 6 months. I've been posting some of those Twitch videos here on YouTube. I've been getting some comments, some views on just a few of the Twitch videos I put on. So tonight I had to do some roasting, and I decided to add some of just to do a live YouTube, just for really just for austerity. Like I said, I've been on Twitch. Really, the only coffee roaster on Twitch that I know of. Not to say that they're not out there. Twitch is a great community. It's massive. But just the simple video on demands that I put on from my Twitch have gotten some YouTube hits. So I figured I would at least kind of explore YouTube, just kind of look around, see how streaming on this platform feels, and we'll go from there. I do have it set up right now to as subscriber only chat. I'm not familiar as familiar as I am with Twitch as far as the interface and that. Something I think I probably can figure out pretty quick. That's why I just decided to hop on and kind of just play it by ear. So I think you have to subscribe to chat. So if you haven't subscribe. Ask questions if you got them. I'm going to be roasting, just doing a really quick roast tonight of some Papua New Guinea. I'll kind of try to walk through the different processes that are going on as far as roasting, the different stages, as well as like kind of what's going on in my mind. So totally not a vegetable beard. Welcome in the first Twitch convert in either that or the doppelganger, and that's two. Barbers are in. Feeling like a grandma. How do I chat YouTube? Well, I'm really glad to see you guys make it over here from Twitch. So, welcome in, Barber fam. This is not an abandoning ship on Twitch. It's just a chance to try something new. Just to see, just to have some comparison, to be able to take two variables and weigh them against each other. I think this might become a more conducive platform for, say, the roast show. The last couple of roast shows, they just get a little bit dry, especially I think for the gaming community. I have gotten some roasters or home roasters who have found and subscribed to my YouTube channel. So if they want a chance to, come on in and view the show, that would be really cool. They could ask questions, they could compare notes, those kind of things. And then I think the more lively things, Julie, State of the Fat Beans, the more interactive pieces, we will keep those on Twitch, at least for the time being. And, again, not an abandoning ship by any means, but just trying something new. Glad you were able to figure out the YouTube. But by no means is this a farewell shot to where it all got started. All right. Well, anyway, if you are joining us, welcome in. As I said earlier, this is Fat Beans Coffee Lab. We are a home roaster out of a suburb of Kansas City, Overland Park to be precise. I've been roasting coffee for a little over a year now. It's kind of exciting to say. This is the third iteration of machine that I have. I started on a popcorn popper, air popper. I moved to a Beemore 2000, and now I'm using an Aillio bullet. By far the most intricate of all of the roasting machines that I've had. I don't really want to say I have a favorite, as they all kind of had a unique coffee experience. But bullet has been far and away where I've gotten the highest level of education. So It does have a lot of information that is really helping me grow as a roaster. Some things that I initially heard or read about, you kind of can see those in action with the bullet, and that makes it really cool. So we're going to be doing just one roast tonight. Really kind of how my roast strategy goes is if I need to roast and it's not on a Saturday, I will roast. I will come down here and roast, and I often put all my roasts on video, both for replayability in case anything ever goes wrong. Also for insurance purposes, if I burn my basement down, well, I have a nice catalog of, hey, how'd you burn your house down? I was roasting coffee. No, seriously, how'd you burn your house down? You can have it all. It's all evident, all on film. Some other nice things is I get a little chance for interaction. The Twitch side of things, I've been able to talk with people about coffee, about my preferences, about what I think about roasting, flavors, brands, types, all different things, and it's been really cool. In fact, the Fat Beans. Anything that Fat Beans is has been created because of the Twitch show and the Twitch viewers, and I guess now that we're on YouTube, we can just call it the streaming. So the streaming show and the streaming viewers. So what I just did there, while I was rambling on, was I made myself a little liquid motivation. This is actually not Fat Beans coffee. I went down to the Mecca Onyx Coffee Lab. Just see put my pelts on the wall. If you have any coffee shops you think I should add to here, let me know. I got Onyx, Isla Morada, and Airship, adding more stickers to the wall there, but it's from Onyx. This is their summer, Southern Weather blend. It's pretty simple blend. It's their proprietary blend. It's 30, I would imagine it tastes like it's got a little bit of Ethiopian, a little bit of Colombian. It's a nice blend, and the blend that I'm currently working on is going to be very similar to this in that it's going to be probably about a 30% African, 30% Central South American. So there you go. That is that. Normally we do drink Fat Beans coffee here, but as the roaster, it's kind of a good, if you are roasting at home or roasting on your own, I've found that it's very important to continue to drink coffees from all different places. Good coffee, bad coffee, world-renowned coffee, unique coffee. Kind of helps keep the creativity flowing. It also, the more and more that you roast something, I've found, you tend to start just falling in love with your flavor. You become familiar with it. It becomes a part of your culture. And what begins to take place or transpire is you start getting yourself into a rut. So very, very important that you continue to adjust your palate. And that's not even meaning using different beans from different countries, but also different roasters to see what everyone's doing. All right, cool. Hearing about their coffee too, knowing what others put in their blends. Yeah, and that's kind of the cool part about roasting coffees for as long as I have. Just looking at the coffee and, I can sort it out. I was able just to spread a bunch of their coffee out, and I sorted the two coffees because Ethiopian and Colombian are very, very different. Colombian are bigger, Ethiopian are smaller. The Ethiopian had more of a tendency to pea berry. That's just a smaller single type of bean, and I was able to easily just look at it, guess 70-30, and Onyx does a really good job that they're pretty open and honest about what currently is in their blends, which helps me. That sounds very multicultural, yeah. So the African Latin American is a big strategy when it comes to blends. I learned recently that in contrast to coffee blends where you individually roast each origin, in wine you blend the grapes first, then you age, etc. all together. Yeah. So, Lisa, you can do both. The only thing is, the reason that I roast separate and put together, and most do, is because a lot of times you're not only trying to have different beans, you're also trying to do different roast levels. So you're trying to combine a medium and a dark, or a lot of times you might be doing a light and a medium. So this here is clearly, this is a light and a medium. So this is, they roasted, so they roasted a bunch of Colombian, they roasted a bunch of Ethiopian, then they got a scoop out and they just blended it together. Yeah, wine is separate because the fermentation process was going to happen about the same for all grapes. Whereas coffee, you have not only different beans, you also have different roasts. You also have different densities, you have different sizes, you have different processes. And what begins to take place is that one bean might roast faster than another bean. For example, a natural process Ethiopian might hit first crack at 200 and, lost my train of thought there. Rather about 197 degrees Celsius, whereas a Brazilian might hit first crack at 201 degrees Celsius. So it's, but you can mix them. And in fact, let's say you can do a washed and a natural process. Sometimes people will just blend those together and roast those at the same time. Wild stuff. All right, so yeah, that's a new scoop. I cannot wait to try this thing out. Actually, I have tried it out, but that is a brand new scoop. One thing about roasting a lot is I've really found the important things of life, and one of them is a good scoop. This is, if you would have asked me, hey Bean Man, how much should you pay for a scoop? I would say $1. It's a scoop. But this scoop is worth every penny, and I don't even remember what I paid for it. That's how far I am in my addiction. I don't even know how much I'm spending on stuff anymore. I'm just spending the money. But yeah, this scoop, not only is it flat, so it sits well on a scale, it also has a funnel in the back that you can put in a coffee bag and just go straight from scoop into the coffee bags. Thing's amazing. The scoop has changed the game. All right, well, if you are new to the Bean Show, about to do a little bean look here. This is Judy's face grill. I'm just going to give you this so as we go, if you are following along, you do have some prior knowledge into roasting, you can kind of follow along. I do everything in Celsius, so all of this, my preheat temperature, my ambient temperature, it's all going to be in Celsius. I mean, honestly, why do I do that? I don't know why. I understand that Fahrenheit gives you more variables, but Celsius is just more of a universal language. So, there's that. This is also, if you look in the top right corner, that is my Aillio bullet roast tracker. And that is just, you can follow along with my rate over rise. We'll talk about all of this as we kind of go through. That brings up a good point. Is there a way to give Fat Beans money on YouTube? Well, Lisa, I don't know. And because, full disclosure, I just popped it on. I just went live. I had to wait a day so they could check me out, but I will figure all of that out. But right now, I think the best support right now is to just hang out, ask questions, get the Bean Man thinking, and we'll go from there. I don't know what the monetary side of YouTube looks like, but I'm sure there's some way. Your inspiration. The Inspirato is the best way. As the great Tenacious D says, all I need is your Inspirato. All right, so we are up and running. Now we're doing 1,000 kilograms. No, we're not doing that. We're doing 1,000 grams of coffee right now. That is max capacity on this roaster. She only really likes that much. And anything more than that, and I found the beans don't gyrate as well. I tried, for instance, 1,200 kilograms, and things just get a little too packed in the drum. So what I found is that right around out of range, perhaps as a simple, you'll just get more folks ordering, maybe. And that's always a possibility, Lisa, that more people will just start ordering coffee. But really, if people just come in, ask questions, come in, give me tips, that might be perfect. So 1,000 kilograms of coffee in here. Oh, there's what I'm looking for. We did a 300 degrees Celsius preheat. Why 300? I found whenever I do 1,000 grams, I tend to need a lot of heat in the drum and in the ambient air just to get this to stay within the 8 to 10 minute window. I found anytime that we go a little bit lower than that, the sheer mass of the coffee starts to just fight from the heat transfer. So when you do a big batch, you need a much higher preheat, and I'm also going to use full power. I just recently installed an independent plug to my box. I had been having some mixed results as far as the power goes, so I went ahead and gave it its own circuit. It now has its circuit simply for the roaster, and hopefully that will give me a little bit better power output going forward. So right now, we are just trying to dry this coffee out. Another issue that we run into when we have a really big batch size is this roast can get stretched out really, really long. Ideally, in order to kind of just follow best practice, and, as all things, the best practice can be debated, but if we're going to follow our best practice, we want to shoot for between about 6 and 12 minutes, and something this size, more along the line between about 9 and 12 minutes, between when it is drying to when it is complete. In the past, this coffee has taken about right around 12 to 13 minutes to get to the point that I want it to be. In doing that, we want to break our roasting into 3 distinct, phases. So phase 1 is the drying phase. It's from when we drop the coffee into the roaster to when the coffee has reached its maximum dryness, or when you begin to be able to detect some subtle notes of sweetness, almost like baked bread. This is usually marked by about 170 degrees Celsius. Not always. It's better to follow your nose because coffee is an agricultural product. It doesn't always follow the exact same line. But a good rule of thumb is by about 170 degrees, we reach what's called the yellowing, and we end the drying phase. The next phase is called yellowing or pre-development phase. At this phase, the coffee is going to begin to have chemical reactions. And in fact, the sweetness that you pick up with your nose is the first signal that chemical reactions are taking place, meaning that molecules are beginning to change because of the chemical reactions that are happening in the coffee. So things are breaking down, new molecules are becoming present because things are breaking down. A lot of the dance of coffee is beginning to take place. It's important that this development phase, you don't rush past it. You don't want to immediately go from yellow to roasted coffee because this would signal that not a lot of time has been given for the flavors of the coffee to develop. So the pre-development phase is probably arguably the most important phase in coffee if you're not going to bring it way past second crack and burn the hell out of it. If your intention is to showcase what the coffee can do, It's very important that you give adequate amount of time in this phase. All the while, what you're looking for is just a rich, sweet sense to continue to develop in the coffee. The drying phase, I've heard anywhere between 40% and 50% of the coffee. This phase, anywhere between 30 and 40% of the roast. And then finally, the development phase, which we'll talk about here in a minute, should make up the last 20 to 25% of the roast. Now, this isn't something I invented. I'm not a master by any means. I'm still putting in my time. This is following works done by Scott Rowe, who's probably the most famous writer in this idea of different times. Every coffee roaster generally is going to follow a very similar path, a roast profile. Robert Hughes, or Haas, however you want to say it, I've read a bunch of his stuff. He really gets into this and does some great work too. So if you are a fellow roaster and you're interested in some light reading, obviously Scott Rowe's book, Robert Haas, is really good. And then there's just a multitude of YouTube videos out there that can really serve as a guiding post for you as well. All right. So now we have been in this phase for about 2 minutes, and we want to start making a slow, steady descent as we move to the development phase. When we get to the development phase, this is where we're going to start roasting the coffee, meaning we're going to start putting flavor by way of caramelization or burning or whatever we're trying to do. We're going to start flavoring whatever molecules have become present in the pre-development phase. We don't want to just get all of these sugar molecules available, which they are very present. I can smell them with my nose. We don't want to burn the hell out of them. In order to prevent this, we're going to try to start walking this down. Right now I'm at about 8 degrees centigrade per minute. By the time I reach first crack, I would like to have this number down around about 5 minutes. To do that, I'm going to be walking off the heat, and in the same time, I'm going to be increasing fan speed. That's going to do 2 things. One, it's going to obviously allow less heat. The air and the coffee and the drum and the metal are going to have to be less heat, so more of the coffee, as the coffee sucks up heat, there'll be less. The air is going to be sucking in cool air and pushing out hot air. Both of these can be used in kind of a sequence or a dance to try to cool the roaster down and stay on track. For instance, we want to keep moving down. We're getting we've stayed pretty much a flat line, so I'm going to add a little bit more fan. Try just to hold the roast just a little bit. And if that doesn't do it, we continue to walk off the power. We should be reaching first crack or development phase here any moment. And at this point, the coffee is just a very rich, molassesy. You can really tell there's a lot of sugar, and we did a good job in the development phase. We're at about 9 minutes. This roast historically has taken me around 10 minutes to get to first crack. I know I said 12 minutes, probably going to be right around 13 minutes. That's still going to stay in my overall roast plan. So we're getting a couple of pops. I don't know if that's picking up on if it's registering or not. You can tell. I just need to walk off the heat more. Now that we're at first crack, just want to keep walking off the heat. We don't want to drop the heat so drastically that the temperature just spikes suddenly. That means it goes up and it just dive bombs. I had a little bit of register here, not a big deal, but in the quest for perfection, we want this to be a very gradual leveling off. So we've got a very good, rich roast, and now we have reached what's called the development or roasting phase. This is when we get to start making some decisions as a roaster. We could pull the coffee out right now and call it roasted, and we would technically have roasted coffee. It would be a light roast. We could soldier on and continue to add heat to the roast in an effort to get more robust flavors, more bittersweet flavors, maybe take some of those sugars, caramelize those sugars. Or we can go way past that and we can begin to add roast flavors. Or roast flavors is just a real technical term where we can begin to burn the coffee. Now you might say, Bean Man, who drinks burned coffee? A lot of people. The roasty taste you have is when you begin to burn those sugars. Now you might be like, who eats burnt sugar? Well, if you've ever had a marshmallow over a campfire and you like that rich black carbon taste and you think it adds, a certain level to the sweetness of the marshmallow inside, kind of the same process that happens with coffee. Now, not my personal favorite, but coffee as a culture is not a one strict rule, and different strokes for different folks. So, all right, what we're going to do is we want to do a medium roast, right around between medium and dark, or what we would call a city plus full city. Really what we want to do is we want to take it right up to second crack and stop it. The reason we want this roast profile is not only because of Papua New Guinea tends to be a little bit better the darker you go because of the flavors that are in it, but also because we're going to use this for cold brew, and cold brew flavor generally accentuates the caramel and chocolate. Hey, Bean Man, I just placed an order of some of that Honduras. Sounds delicious. Well, hey, Vegetable Beard, we'll do that next. Look at that. Veggie Beard roasting some Honduras. So the Honduras it's easy drinker. It's an easy drinker, Vegetable Beard. I think you'll enjoy it. All right, so at this point, we've reached about 212 degrees Celsius. We're just getting close to that, what you would kind of define as a medium, kind of moving medium, getting close to that first crack. In full disclosure, I would like to see this reach about 215. Also, if you can really see the chart, you will see that the development is going to be about 25% total. And real quick, while we're letting our next batch kind of develop, we'll look at what that means. So, nailed it. All right. So, sorry for the mic right now. There's a cooling fan. Trying to get some of the chaff go through the perforated holes. There is cool air being sucked in. Now, what I saw when I put the coffee in, I don't but agitating too big, hard to So it looks like we did get an order from Veggie Beard. Check that order out on the website. We do roast this coffee, so if you ever see me roasting something, you're interested in what we're doing, yeah, Mike does get choppy when the CPU fan is on. All right, that should help straighten the mic out a little bit. And let's go ahead and get Mr. Veggie Beard's coffee rolling. All right. So to kind of give you guys a quick overview of what our strategy is while we're letting the roaster move out. Notified on a roasting video on here from a month ago. You have 330 viewers. That's big time. Yeah. So that's kind of what brought me over to YouTube just to look. Is someone watched one of my videos from Twitch, which wasn't designed for YouTube by any means. It was just me just ripping Twitch. In fact, they couldn't even see any of the chat or anything. But people were not only viewing it, but commenting on it, sending me emails about it. So I figured, let's just start doing a couple of things on here and see what happens. So I'm not sure what the overall strategy will be, but just putting those couple of videos up, we got some subscribers. So I think it's worth exploring, being able to decide. So this is the roast that we just did. 13 minutes, 48 seconds. Let's take a look. Now, one thing I immediately look at is this top scale here. I would think it is, Lisa, but that's just because this machine has a cult following. So we did 37% of the roast was drying time. 37% of the roast was pre-development, and 24% of the roast was development or the roasting phase. That's a pretty damn good scale for having it maxed out. Again, people say roast times should be anywhere between 50 and 40, 30 and 40, and 20 and 25, and we were able to hit all the phases here and still make the exact darkness that we wanted. Now, when we do coffees lighter, this number might shrink. This number might stay the same depending on what kind of coffee it is. You may just want simple sugars. This might become your number. So a light roast might be very fast. Let's say we're going to do something dark roast. We'd want to stretch the yellow part out as much as we can in order so that this one doesn't become the primary part of the roast. So that's just a little bit of inside baseball for you about why I'm going for the times and the strategies that I am. As far as the roast curve, first you need to understand that my probes, anytime that I have too little coffee or too much coffee, the probe data is going to be a little bit less reliable, but this curve pretty good. I guess the one thing I could have made some more preparation. You'll see I probably could have gone to P6 here, and you guys can't see that. Shame on the bean, man. Well, that's what happens when you try to get cute. Sorry about that, YouTube. We're still learning. We're still learning this, the ways of the YouTube. But you'll see I can make some adjustments when and if I do this type of coffee again. So that's a little bit of inside baseball for you. Inside Bean Man. All right, so we're going to do a Honduras. I've done the Honduras all summer, so I do have some good recipes that help me reach what I'm trying to do. So we're doing 12 ounces for the Barber family. This will be the strategy that we do. We'll do a 38, 36, 25 in an effort to get this about to 215. Nice medium roast for you. We might even trim that down to maybe 212. Very simple roast strategy, and this is what we're going to follow. We need to be at 250, and we're going to put 500 grams. So that's going to leave Bean Man a little share. Ain't nothing wrong with that. In fact, let's yeah, we'll do that. All right, so not vegetable beer, let ride. So we'll use this PNG. That will make a nice hottie batch of cold brew, and we'll make this Honduras. And get to see one of the cooler elements of doing things on Twitch, which allows us to roast coffee real time. So you guys, Lisa or Not Vegetable Beard, you guys let me know if anything changes. Again, you get to see the new scoop in action. One thing you will notice, the person that screen prints my bags is on her honeymoon, so we are back to old school bean bags for the time being. Till Belvarte gets back in the beat country. All right. So Judy is raring to go. So let's not hesitate any longer. Let's drop her in. Let's get you guys back in bean view here. Since this is our second. Let's do an overview. Right. Let's ride. I'll show you the others now. I like to scoop inside. Oh, if you are a home roaster, any sort of a roaster, and you don't have a good scoop, let me tell you just the nirvana that comes with a good scoop. All right, so 500 grams, half of what we just did. We did a 250 centigrade preheat, and with this one, I don't generally do a wash-in. So I just go straight at the power. With the Honduras, this one it takes heat really well. It's very durable bean as far as roast meat goes. So I'll just drop what's going to end up being my full power, and I will slowly make adjustments to the power of the fan. These Central American coffees, is a lot of people roast them. A lot of home roasters get started on Central American coffees simply because they're really easy to roast. They don't have, they're not like natural, well, a lot of Central American coffees aren't natural processed, so they can be, they're just, I have tried to be too technical. They just are easy to roast. So if you are looking for a good bean, I would say find yourself a Central American. Sweet Maria's, Happy Mug, your local roaster. If you go to your local coffee roaster and ask them for some green beans, they probably will oblige. Now, some will charge you an exorbitant amount, and some are really kind and will give you kind of a more wholesale approach. It just depends on who's running the joint, what kind of relationship you've created with them. All right, so we're going to get some heat on this bean, and then slowly we're going to make adjustments to cool it down. Really, the roasting strategy for this in the Papua New Guinea is not that different. Want to get many of the same flavors. This one is a very, very mild, balanced cup of coffee. It does have a berry sweetness. It is the, I guess, as far as the coffees I'm offering right now, it's the king of coffees in that you can just drink it really easily. So much like Budweiser or Bud Light, the king of beers, not for their superior taste, but their superior drinkability. The Honduras does have a superior drinkability. Not to say it doesn't have a great taste. It has a great coffee taste with a kind of a berry aftertaste. Probably the best thing I can say about the Honduras is that it's a champ, it's a longevity champ. This is a coffee, a medium roast coffee that you're going to get all 3 weeks out of and then some. In fact, this coffee starts bursting in flavors at 5 to 8 days. Some coffees, that might be a little bit different. Sometimes the coffee starts showing its best characters after 2 days, 3 days. But this coffee I've drank this coffee well into 3 or 4 weeks and gotten some amazing cups out of it. So it's a real champ in that right. And I think the nice thing about this Honduras is I rotate it out. I'm buying it at 20 pounds a bag, which looking back now, had I known how much I was going to sell, I probably would have bought like 60 pounds right off the bat. But hey, you live and learn. But I'm getting new batches of this all the time, and I think that helps preserve the flavor a little bit too. The moisture content and the beans that are coming in are easily at 13, which the older the bean gets, the lower the moisture content gets. Hence, the less flavor is in the coffee. It's in the coffee. We are at the sweetness, so let's go ahead and mark that. Probably go back and change that a little bit. It did hit that yellowing a little bit earlier than that. Here on out, we just want to start gradually walking down a little bit. Sample that. Yes, your eyes did not deceive you. I did just eat a caramelized bean. It's the most road way to kind of test. When I say bean, man, isn't it hot? Got hot. I like to chew on it just to see what level of crunch it has. Gives me an idea of how close it's getting to that first crack. There's no real science to back that up. I just like to give myself as many experiences while I'm roasting as I possibly can. Whether that's through my nose, through my mouth, through my ears. Helps me learn. But you get a little spike there. I think it doesn't dip too bad. Walked off the power. Should have at 190 degrees. I should have been a little bit more judicious with lowering the power. That's my bad. I should have caught that. Not going to change the flavor of the coffee at all. It's just when you're trying to make a nice sloping curve downwards, it's better just to anticipate all of this. What that's going to signify is just it might be pushing the roast a little bit faster. We want to make sure we give it enough time to develop. Walk it off. Just want to try to prevent any sort of a big crash here. Good sweetness in the nostril there. I don't go crazy trying to chase RORs like some people do. As you can see, if you're looking at the ghost roast on this, I've had that same kind of port and gotten some really good coffee out of this. So I'm not going to go crazy trying to worry about it. Just you're shooting for a nice steady decline. Really what I'm concerned with is the times, and the times are looking great. The ROR is kind of falling in the line now. We'll continue to walk off the temperature. But this is going to be a dynamite roast. Times are mirrored to what we normally have. Also, in times like this, you got to go with your nose and your eyes. Smells right, looks right, sounds right. Right. Because you're not going to put the coffee in a computer. You're going to put the coffee in your mouth. And so you've got to make sure that the things that are built for that kind of information gathering are the ones that are making your best decisions. Flavor, the way it tastes, has to be the first thing you go to. It can't be a computer screen. It can't be, something you read on a book. It's got to be, how does it taste? But if you're lost and you just can't get the taste right, you just can't get it all figured out, and you're wondering what kind of changes can I make, then turn to the analytics. But remember, this is both an art and a science. All right, so this roast is actually turning out pretty good. Remember I said 212? I wanted to get there by about 20% of the roast. Well, we already have it. Got it. We righted the ship. This thing right where we want it to be. Continuing to walk off the power. I want to ease it right into 212. Even a little bit more fan, just kind of push the chaff to the back of the machine. And 212 looks good. Let's pull it. Ooh, that's a good looking Honduras. Well, that's how you drive the bus, kids, and that's It helps if I turn the roast on. Okay. Now, if you notice, not only am I cooling the beans, I also use this as an opportunity to pick out anything that looks to just be a little bit less than desirable. I've heard them called stinker beans before, which I guess that doesn't really do them justice. They're called stinker beans because sometimes if the bean doesn't get enough nutrition, or if it doesn't get maybe if it got nibbled on by an insect and they sucked all the nutrition out, it's not going to create the best coffee flavor. In fact, if you have it in a small enough distribution, like if you're doing a pour over, one of those beans, the kind of the obtrusive flavor of them can disrupt the entire batch. So what I do is I'll pick them out at this point. One change we are going to make here at the Fat Beans Coffee Laboratory is we're going to move to a UV light system. We do such small batches that the imperfections will actually come out in UV light. So I am going to start putting my coffees against UV light, and that will, just make sure that I don't miss any. As this is a tried and true method, it's not the most efficient method, and anytime we can add efficiency to overall benefit the quality, do that. And we'll continue to look for any. Really, some of these aren't even stinker beans, but why risk it? So, can't wait to turn that to delicious bean water. Yeah, I think we're getting a nice, like I said, this should be a good coffee. And in fact, the first bean blend will probably, this will be a base for it for a time. So this is going to be our coffee a base. So there you have it. Thanks for the order, and I can't wait to get this out to you guys. I'll put it in the mail tomorrow, and hopefully you guys, there's been a pretty good turnaround time for Austin, so we will get it to you. Right. So, well, that is some of the roasting that we do here in the bean show, and I don't think you need to sit and look at my cell phone and beans, so let's bring you back to this view. So that's the pretty much some of the content that we do here. It is I like to roast. Thank you, Blake, and excuse me, not Vegetable Beard and Lisa. You guys give me the opportunity to kind of do the thing I like the most, in that I really like it when I can do an order. I think that kind of shows the ultimate process of the live roasting, is when people can put a roast in. I can do it for them live. You got to get a look. It gives you that fourth dimensional product experience that really you very rarely do you get to do, especially with coffee. I mean, you get to watch coffee being made by a barista, but it is kind of cool to see your coffee coming together. So I will get that out to you ASAP. A couple of other notes. One of the other guilty reasons that I am going to YouTube is that we're going to take on a new project here at the Fat Beans Coffee Lab. We're wondering what's going to get us through the winter. What sort of, because I am a man who respects the seasons, summer being the time that you reap, but, well, I guess fall, but fall and winter being the time that you prepare. Wanted to get a winter project going that's going to help push Fat Beans to the next level. Obviously, education is going to be the most important piece. As an educator myself, I get time to read, so we're going to continue to, read. Really, never consider ourselves to be knowing what we know until we know everything, which will be never. So we'll always continue that piece. But one thing that the market has inspired is a desire to get something to haul all of our stuff in. And also, that can be an integral part in going to more markets, but making the transition easier. One thing we found in the market is it's nice because we have an overhang, we have power, we have everything that we would need. All we have to do is set up tables, we set up the roaster, we set up all of our equipment, but we're starting to look at other markets that don't have that accessibility. Because we have all of this equipment, and because kind of what we do is that we do, coffee, roasting, and brewing right on the spot, we have been talking about maybe getting a trailer. We've seen coffee businesses do trailers before. It's nothing new. So it's not that we're trying to reinvent the wheel by having a trailer. But one thing that we are going to do is we want it to be that the trailer is still peer-to-peer. One thing I don't like is when you're inside of a camper and you're separating yourself from the customer. Because what Fat Beans has been is an accessibility, being able to look and talk and smell and communicate, and we want it to be a coffee experience. We don't want to be, a food truck. Now, I'm not saying a food truck's not a good experience, but I want you to be able to see everything that I'm doing. If I'm making an AeroPress, I want you to be able to say, hey, I have one of those, how do I do that? That's been the coolest part for me with the market. It's not, kind of creating a separation or a boundary. So we've been looking at an item called a teardrop trailer. That is just a very, very small camping trailer, almost looks like a teardrop, that it has a galley or a kitchen that pops up. We thought it'd be really cool if we could, if we could back it in, pull the galley up, and then have all of our coffee that we're serving there have a drawer or something that flips out on the side. Judy's right there on the side, and we bring the lab pops open. Now, Lisa, I think you got to it quicker than I could say it, but we're going to be building it. Now, I have a little bit of carpentry experience, very, very small. As you can see, I did build this room, this little corner of my basement. I put this door in. So I have tools and I have a little bit of competence, but I figured I want to document this. Just like I wanted to document this, I want my kids to see it because heaven forbid, someday I turn into just a crotchety old man. I want them to be able to look back at something and say, okay, my dad had drinks. No, I'm just kidding. But I do really think that would be a cool project to take on, and so I want to stream it. Although, Twitch is a great place to stream, I think I want to put it on YouTube because I want to make clips and videos, and so what my hope is, and it's just about playing around, is that some of those shows are going to go right here. I'm going to clip them, turn them into videos, be able to put chapters. YouTube's just better for the long-term video. So we're going to be building a teardrop trailer probably once the market ends. So starting October 1st, we're going to start building the trailer. I've looked into welding my own trailer. I don't want to do that. I looked at all the logistics of it. I looked at taking classes at the community college. I don't have enough desire to weld. I'm not buying a welder, so I'd have to rent it. I don't want to take, a month's worth of community college class, buy a helmet, buy goggles, buy all the stuff. I just don't have a passion for metal. So we're going to find someone to weld the trailer for me. I have the design. They'll make the trailer October 1st. we're going to start building a trailer along with building a business. So it's not one thing just to buy the trailer. We're going to build the trailer. I think it's going to give us a feeling of appreciation. And if it totally blows up in our face, well, at least we'll have a trailer. Oh, a friend built a teardrop and made a photo booth, and we're super successful with it. So, yeah. And who knows? Maybe Fat Beans Coffee Lab just becomes Fat Beans Teardrop Lab. I don't know. But I think it'd be cool. It's something I've built my own sheds. I've built my own rooms. So I've done some things, but I think a teardrop trailer would be really cool. And like I said, if it works out, it's not a bad skill to have. Like I think teardrop trailers are just the epitome of America. It's just Americana because unlike a big camper, just seeing even pop-up trailers, just seeing those small trailers being pulled by a car, or in our case, we just have a small SUV, so that's why we don't want anything too big as well. Kind of just seeing that being pulled down the road, I think that's going to be pretty cool and a pretty good experience. So I'm glad that you're stoked, and that is going to be some content. Roasting will always be a content, and obviously the fun time shenanigan hours on Twitch will always be a thing. That's not going anywhere. We're still trying to push the Twitch boundary. It's just, it's just trying a bunch of stuff right now. We're still at the very early phases of what we are. So the last thing I want to do is stifle myself and say this is all that we do. Because if we'd done that, we'd never be making cold brew. To be honest with you, the cold brew is that's where Fat Beans is getting our name across town. Like people come up and say coffee's great. Always expected the coffee to be good the way that you're doing it, but they're like, this cold brew is blowing my mind. Like it is. What are you doing? I have to say, I don't know, I'm making fresh coffee. So, but little did I know that I was going to become the cold brew king of the Midwest, at least as far as the Miriam Farmers Market. But we are at the point where people are buying jars of it. I know, Lisa, you mentioned that people at your farmer's market bring carafes. But yeah, I just started putting it in mason jars, and now we're selling cold brew concentrate by the jar. So things are getting, things take weird turns when you just try different things. So, hell, we'll build a coffee trailer, and hopefully by next farmer's market season, we can pull that thing up. And if we can't, you guys can hold me accountable, because we've seen when the Bean Heads hold the Bean Man accountable, Bean Man does stuff. So there's a nice little piece of that. You don't take shortcuts, and people are appreciating it. And yeah, I think that's true. I mean, I'm not in this to shortcut. I want this to be something that I do, and I'm not looking to if I was in it for the money, boy, I should have took the off ramp at the first purchase. So. I think I'm in it for the experience, and as long as I'm getting a good experience, I'm finding that other people are enjoying the experience too. So, hell, maybe coffee cart becomes the next thing. I also have an idea. I'm not ready to share it yet of what the big picture is, but it would do everything that got me to here proud. So maybe in a different stream we'll share the vision and try to work that out. All right, so I will get this out to the Barber family. Let me know what you think. I am getting some new coffee in, hopefully this week. I got a Sumatra coming in. I also have another Guatemalan. I think the Sumatra could become the next big cold brew thing, as well as I think both the Guatemalan and Sumatran are going to both be good cold brew coffees. That's why I got them. Also, the middle way blend is, I've almost got it perfected. I have found that I can make Ethiopian and Burundi work pretty much unilaterally. So we'll be doing a 70-30 Africa Costa Rica blend, and I'll put that up on the website. So if you want to check out a Bean Man blend, we can do that too. So yeah, so the Sumatra, I think you guys, that might be the next one. I got 20 pounds of it, so don't worry, I'm not going to run out. Should have plenty of it. So Sumatra. All right, well, let's do a quick poll here. Bing, the Sumatra was my favorite house of coffee beans in Houston. I can't wait to order some of that. Yeah. We'll have to, it's going to take me a while to tune that in. I haven't done a lot of Sumatra. I do know it needs to go dark, and that's been my Achilles heel. So here's our ending poll for the couple of you that have been watching. YouTube, is it yes or is it no? I know, real scientific poll here, the community. So right now we got a vote of 1 for yes. And yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll try it. So with a whopping 1 response of YouTube, yes or no, the community has said. So, all right, guys. Well, I don't know when I'll stream again. I will put something on the Discord. I think that was good that I was able to reach Vegetable Beard on the Discord, so that was cool. So I will try to give you an idea, and I'm going to try to work a better path. I go back to school in a week and a half, so I should be on a much more predictable pattern. I think the summer is just the summer for everybody, but as we move into the fall, we'll get into a much more Bean Man. And as I told you, by October 1st, we're doing the teardrop, kids. We're doing the teardrop game. So, and making everything so black and white. I know. That's not the Bean Man way. That's not the middle way. You called me on it. Appreciate it. All right, guys. That was cool. Have fun. See you guys next time. YouTube.